Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Today I'm going to talk to you about copper and gold. For some of you who have followed the Avalon story, that's been focused in Scandinavia for a number of years. We're taking Avalon in a new direction. I'll be introducing the Brahmaderos Gold Copper Project in Ecuador. For some that may seem like a very significant move out of Scandinavia, but once you understand the team behind Avalon that we've put in place currently, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, first of all, corporately, we've currently got 650 million shares on issue. We had 1.6 million in the bank at the end of March, and a market cap, very low market cap, sitting today of around $11 million. We've had some very, very good support out of Europe and the UK. We've got a number of high net worth individuals that have supported the company over the last 2.5 years, and they're the major shareholders. They're long-term copper bulls, and they like significant exposure to gold. So obviously we tick those boxes, and they're continuing to be very strong supporters of ours. The board and management have participated in placements and put their own cash into the company. So we've bought shares either on market or in placements. So we're certainly fully aligned with shareholders. The team, very important to go through this. Graham Ascough, our chairman, is at the conference this week, as is Gavin Light, our CFO, at the booth. So importantly, myself and Bruce Rawlack, we've worked together for many, many years. And we're fortunately part of the team that discovered the Tujuh Bukit porphyry in Indonesia. Very significant discovery, porphyry copper gold system. Ray Robinson was with us at that time as well, so he managed the feasibility studies. We then took the team of myself and Bruce into SolGold and identified and first discovered the Cascabel copper gold porphyry system, and that is in Ecuador. And that was through a partnership with a Canadian junior called Cornerstone Capital. And it's Cornerstone that Avalon has now partnered with on the Brahmaderos project in southern Ecuador. So it makes sense for us to be there. Very strong team matched with the appropriate project. So I'll talk about our portfolio. I'll obviously talk a fair bit about Brahmaderos. As I said, we were part of the team that was involved in the Cascabel discovery. And have had a lot of exposure to porphyry copper gold systems. I'll also talk about VISCARIA, a wonderful foundation asset in Sweden. It's at PFS stage, so we're now looking at what our options are to fund that PFS and to take that forward. But a very, very strong copper deposit in an increasing copper price environment with very significant exploration upside. And our Southern Finland Gold Project, a very good gold project. We drilled some holes there last year, found some very good gold intersections. So that's being advanced currently through geophysics and drilling. But obviously what we want to present to shareholders is value growth through discovery. Two of these companies, Intrepid and SolGold, we've been involved in. It's all about discovering large porphyry copper gold deposits, but obviously under secure tenure and taking them on a development path. So it's not only the discovery, it's the secure tenure, and then it's securing partners or funds to take them through to development. And that's where we see the discovery phase through to the increasing valuation that you can see here with Intrepid and SolGold. So let's talk about Brahmaderos. It's in the southern part of Ecuador, just through there. Ecuador is about 800 kilometres north to south. The SolGold discovery of Cascabel is in the north. And all of these deposits are hosted in the Andes. These are the same belt of rocks that contain the world's largest copper deposits in Chile and Peru. So we're in exactly the right geological environment. Cornerstone Capital, the TSX venture listed company, originally held these properties, and we've partnered with them on this as an earn-in joint venture. That's the ideal way to operate in Ecuador. We fund, we control the program, we dictate the program, and Cornerstone implement on our behalf. They're much better at implementing a work program in Ecuador than what we would be. They've been there 10 years, and we've developed a strong relationship after knowing them for over 20 years. But Brahmaderos has had a couple of phases of exploration. First of all, a 10-hole program, then a 22 drill hole program. This has generated enough information for us to know that we've got a mineralised system, and so drilling will happen very soon after us doing the next phase of work, some geophysics, some trenching, and then permitting leading up to drilling. Together with the endowment, you've obviously got to have infrastructure. Southern Ecuador is blessed with infrastructure. The main Pan-American highway goes straight through our concession. There's power. It's reasonably arid in the south, so population is quite sparse. There's a water supply. We're 2.5-hour drive from a major city, and not too far from Ecuador's largest port. So all of those things that you have to think about after you make a discovery are lining up very well in southern Ecuador. Now, if we were here talking about the Toronto market and the TSXV, everyone would be talking about Ecuador. It's currently the hottest exploration destination for companies in North America, and good reason. They've had a stable political system for the last 8 years with President Correa. He introduced a new mining act which was helped along with input by Wood Mackenzie, so it's globally competitive. And on the back of that, we've seen a significant influx of major and minor companies into Ecuador. On the development front, there's 4 major developments, but the most significant is that of Lundin Gold. Lundin bought the Fruta del Norte deposit from Kinross. It's a 10 million ounce resource at a resource grade of 10 grams per tonne. It's a phenomenal deposit, and they've just received permitting for construction, so that's going ahead. In terms of Australian companies, as far as we're aware, Avalon is the only junior on the ASX with exposure to Ecuador. But a lot of the excitement around Ecuador has been driven by the work that Lundin Gold have done and the significant discovery by SolGold at Cascabel. As a consequence, Newcrest invested in SolGold, BHP expressed interest. Both of those companies have done their due diligence and are comfortable with operating in Ecuador. And Hancock and Fortescue have both announced publicly that they're looking at copper opportunities in Ecuador. So it's the place to be. And as I said, as far as I'm aware, Avalon is the only junior on the ASX that provides exposure to the boom that's going on in Ecuador at the moment. Just very briefly on Brahmaderos, the area of drilling that was previously done is in the centre there. We'll be going back in and following up some of those results, but they're ore grade intersections in some of those drill holes. And then there's 2 other projects. This west zone, 40 metres at nearly 4 grams of gold in a trench, never been drilled. And the Limon zone in the east, not been drilled, with up to 1.8% copper in rock chips, with evidence of porphyry-style mineralisation. So we're obviously pretty bullish about this, and good reason to take Avalon in this direction. Let's talk about VISCARIA briefly, a wonderful foundation asset. We've completed a scoping study. We're now at PFS. We're looking at options for what we do with VISCARIA. We could park it. We don't need to advance it. We could park it, or we could advance it through partnerships with various groups, and we're looking at those options at the moment. Very well located. We're in the north of Sweden. We're 120 kilometres north of the Arctic Circle. Sounds horribly remote, but we're in the town of Kiruna, which is the equivalent of Mount Isa, or the equivalent of Broken Hill, or the equivalent of Kalgoorlie, with the opposite weather systems, obviously. 20,000 people, every bit of mining infrastructure you could hope for, and our deposit is just on the outskirts of town. Very cheap power. Sweden has an excess of power in the north, so very cheap power. Copper smelters in Sweden and Germany will be producing a very clean copper concentrate. Very, very low arsenic, essentially negligible arsenic, which these days in the copper market is highly sought after. So a great development opportunity with very significant exploration upside. So we've just finished a drilling program in these areas that are circled. This is B zone ore body and D zone. So A zone actually operated as a mine. Copper were produced from that mine. That was an underground mine. The other deposits, B zone and D zone, have not been mined, and that's what our scoping study was looking at, wrapping around a financial model around those. So we have the mine development path and we have the exploration upside path. Our drilling has just covered areas here to the east, a bit of drilling in A and B zone, D zone north, and then one hole into this southern extension of D zone. This is what D zone looks like on long section. We've had some outstanding results. You can see them here. 27 metres at 2.6% copper in drill hole 193. So we're seeing these very high-grade shoots developing below about 300 metres below surface. We're pretty confident. We stepped out 100 metres and got another plus 2% intersection. So we're pretty confident on that one. What we need to understand, though, is what's happening in the southern side, and that's the area that we've just finished a drill hole on. This is the geological model. We've just done some additional magnetics. We've modelled that up. This is the geological model. We've got some feeder zones. They're mineralising the various host horizons. So this area here of D zone is 10 million tonnes with grades below 300 metres at plus 2% copper. We've just put a drill hole across this faulted zone and trying to just find out what's happening with this significant extension of that magnetic system to the south. So that's immediate exploration upside. If I can correlate that, we're looking at D zone here and the D zone extension there. And then new magnetics, we've just finished processing and collecting, have highlighted a 3 kilometre zone off to the south, which hasn't yet been drilled. There's been a couple of RC holes that went over the top and missed the magnetic anomaly. So lots of upside, and we'll be looking at how we advance that project in future. Briefly about Southern Finland Gold. This was a project we picked up because the Geological Survey of Finland discovered it and didn't progress it. We drilled 7 holes last year. One hole intersected 140 metres at just under a gram, and that included intervals such as 9 metres at 7 grams. And this is all within the top 150 metres of surface. We've taken out a large land position. Strategically, we think that's important, and that land position includes about another 7 gold prospects discovered by the Geological Survey that haven't been explored. This is the system at the moment. Satul and Maki is in there. That's where we did our drilling. But you can see we've got these corridors with very significant rock chips up to a peak of 77 grams in rock chip at surface. Obviously a lot of work to do. We've just finished a large IP survey and we're just starting to see processed results come in on that this morning. So we expect to have something to put out into the public domain, hopefully next week, if not next week, the week after. So that's the portfolio. A lot of news flow. Brahmaderos, obviously a focus for us. We hope to be drilling there before the end of the year. We can do field work straight away, and the team is heading over there later this month to get that started. VISCARIA Copper, expect to see some results of drilling and ongoing work there over the next couple of months, and us looking at how we might advance that project through a PFS stage. And Southern Finland Gold, obviously the geophysical results, followed by a low-cost drilling program. And again, we'll advance that project as we progress through the summer. So that's the Avalon story. We have a booth here, more than welcome to talk to you in more detail about any of these, and certainly keen to answer questions at the booth. Thanks very much.